our views about the contribution of the construction industry, both to the Nigerian economy and to the real estate sector. Can I have the first slide? So Dutum Company Limited, our company was established in 1989 by my father. I've been in the company now 12 years, since 2009. We have a history, 3 decades of engineering delivery, primarily starting off in the public infrastructure space, that is delivering roads. That is one of the roads that we've done for the federal government. And towards the end of my presentation, I'll give my views about what the federal government is doing regarding infrastructure and where we think we should be going. We've been in this for over 30 years, and we believe that some of the transitions that we've gone through in the sector, construction as well as real estate, have positioned the industry for growth in 2021. So just briefly, construction market outlook. From the research of the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, many people don't know that they actually do a lot of good work, but they actually do. I would recommend for every one of us in our sector to spend time with the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics reports. Their reports are getting better and better, and they are very thorough. We can see that the compounded annual growth rate expected in the construction industry is about 16.6%, driving up all the way to 2024. Of course, this report was published without completely factoring some of the issues that occurred in 2020 with COVID lockdown. And if you look at the contribution of the construction industry to the Nigerian GDP, it's been decent. Of course, there was a drop last year for obvious reasons. What we see coming into the new year is that many of the projects, and we can see that already, that were stalled as a result of the pandemic and the lockdown are going to be picking up. So we expect growth in the real estate construction sector. No, please stay on that slide. Also, we expect that the activation plans of the federal government for the economy would add a lot of value to the real estate sector. There's a massive budget. They call the budget of economic recovery and resilience. Well, it's a name. We hope that it's actually able to deliver to expectations. Now, over the next 8 quarters, we expect growth across residential, commercial. I think I already gave a solid foundation of this. Let's go into talking about our company's contribution over the years to the Nigerian economy. We've played in several sectors, beginning with education. Next slide. We build for schools, universities. Our company has been operating for 3 decades, and we've undergone a lot of changes. And we're currently in a strong growth phase with a new generation, and this is part of the passion that we have to see a Nigerian company go into several decades and into new generations, and the sustainability of being able to be around, we believe, for over 100 years, definitely. So we play in different sectors. Going into the next slide. These are some of our projects. In the education sector, we work for University of Ibadan, Pan-African University, Landmark University, building educational structures which have their peculiarities. Next slide, please. This is also in Ilorin, this is in Ibadan. These are all completed projects that are already in use. We also play in, you can move through the slides very quickly. In the energy sector, and this is interesting because the company actually started in the energy sector. Just a brief story. So my dad used to work as a civil engineer for Mobile, and he used to build the filling stations for Mobile in the 80s. And then after building for a few years, he decided to try out and build his own first station, and that was in Ibadan in Gate. And then he built his first station, and then there was a time we had over 20 stations. But what we have done now is we've rebranded that sector of business, and we now build the station and go into partnership agreements with the big oil and gas players. So we're in the sector, but we're not really in the sector. So we provide the assets, build, so we have partnership with NEO, with Overs, and a few other in the sector. So that is how we've managed that. We're also building a jetty for the Nigerian Port Authority. This is also for NEO that we completed in the last year. That jetty is actually completed already. There's an updated picture of that. Of course, our original primary area of focus was in infrastructure. I was still very big in this. We have pivoted a bit, but we are strong in infrastructure delivery. We build bridges for the federal government, for state governments, for multilaterals. That particular bridge was funded by the World Bank, and that was our first set of projects in FCT sometime 2013, 2014. There's an interesting story behind that. We had been in the sector building roads, but we're finding it difficult to get projects in the Federal Capital Territory. For obvious reasons, getting projects in that area is not so much about your technical capacity, but also about your political capacity. So you can obviously decipher that into your understanding of it. So this opportunity came up, and we saw adverts by the World Bank for infrastructure projects around the country. And having studied the way the World Bank as a multilateral operates, we understood that their procurement processes are probably one of the most transparent and merit-driven in the world. So we decided to put in for their first set of projects, understood their procurement process, which is once you meet their technical requirements, whoever comes out as the lowest automatically gets given the job. So we tried for some road projects, Niger State, Ondo State. We were qualified, but we were not the lowest. So they gave it to the lowest. We're like, okay, this is interesting. So I waited for the next opportunity that they had, and they advertised for 6 pedestrian bridges within the FCT. So I told my guys, we're going for 3, and we're going to get all 3. So after my quantity surveyors did their work, the bill, I said, so what's the profit margin? He said 20%. I said, take away all the 20% and let's submit. It was almost as if I was a prophet. The bids came out. Of course, we already know that we meet the technical requirements, and when we got to financial, we were the lowest. It was so they started the process, and they said, oh no, these guys, we don't know them from anywhere. Where did they come from? I can't just give them 3 projects out of 6. All right, let's recommend them for 1. So they recommended us for 1, and they sent the report to the World Bank office in either New York or Washington, D.C. And they sent it back and said, well, these guys came the lowest in 3. Why are you giving them only 1? They said, well, we don't know them. We're not sure of their capacity. They said, well, in your advert, did you state that they are only allowed to apply for 1? He said, no. Did you state that if you get 1 and you've not worked with us before, then we're only going to give you 1? He said, no, I'll give them all 3. And then let them fail and let's blacklist them. So that was their, if they fail, we have their bonds. They have given us bonds from their bankers. So if they fail, we know what to do. And everybody expected us to fail. But I'm glad to say that now, anytime I mention this in Abuja, everybody says, oh yeah, you must have built those pedestrian bridges. Yeah, you can build anything. You can build those bridges now. You can build anything. And suddenly that gave us, our footprint in Abuja. Now we've done 4 of those. And anytime people get the projects, even through political means now, they come to meet us to come and help them execute. And we're like, I'm not interested in that anymore. But that is an interesting story of how we've been able to begin to establish ourselves in what seemed like an impossible sector. And since then, we've gone on to work with the World Bank on several other projects. These are some of the other infrastructure projects we've done. We've done this for estates, we've done this for the government, so we can pretty much do anything in the engineering space. We've also built hangars, we contributed to the aviation sector. What I believe the uniqueness of the construction industry is our ability to contribute to every single sector of the economy. If you're building residential, you need us. If you're into even agriculture, you're going to be building warehouses, you're going to be building roads that lead to your farms, roads that lead to your estate. Every single sector where the engine room, I believe, of the real estate sector, probably after people with the money. So we're also contributing to logistics and supplies, producing asphalt in all of our big project sites, backward integrating, and we intend to do that more this year, even in Lagos, as we have some projects already in the pipeline in Lagos. So what is our intention to contribute to the economy in 2021? With a positive outlook of the construction industry for this year, we are going to be playing a pivotal role, and I'll tell you why. And this is very important for developers and those in the sector. We're seeing a bigger trend for requirements to use local content. And this is positioning very well because we've had the years of the experience, and people are now looking for local content, not necessarily because they like us, but because we are probably the most affordable options available. If you're going to deliver your projects, while you want quality, you also want to be mindful of the cost. So for this reason, we believe that we're going to be contributing hugely to the sector. And this is very vital for developers who want to build. You want to control your costs. And one of the best ways to do that is to ensure that you have engaged a competent construction company who will give you a fixed cost. We're in a time where last year, December, I paid 2,700 for a bag of cement, and by January, you're paying 3,200. If you keep on building yourself without engaging construction companies who have the skill set in being able to manage their costs to give you that fixed cost, you're going to find that your cost will balloon as a developer. So these are some of the values that we intend to bring to the sector. These are some of the ongoing projects that should be rounding up this year. A mall in Lekki, and also that is a retail development, almost complete now. These are older pictures who are much more advanced. Then the Art Hotel project in Oniru. This was supposed to go live in December, but due to issues at the port, should be going live in the first quarter of this year. Of course, we've also had several other, contributions to the economic capacity development. We give scholarships to students in the built environment because we're trying to recruit quality, and we believe that we can contribute to capacity development of, the skill sets that we need for the sector. We stand to contribute better to the economy, and then we've done, CSR with renovating health centers in the communities that we've worked, sinking boreholes, and all of that. Very important on the capacity building. One of the things that we find is the reason why many people go for, maybe the foreign construction companies about the capacity. And we decided that we're going to start building a database of talent that will be able to support our business and support the sector. And that is the reason why we decided to start giving scholarships to students in the built environment, so that right from the beginning of their tertiary education, we're already part of that progress, and we can recruit good talent that will form the back end of our operations. So this is us in brief. We believe that our role in the sector, in the economy, is critical. The federal government is trying to do a lot with infrastructure. There's a huge gap. We cannot take away that gap. The reason why we've pivoted a little bit from public sector to private, doing all these developments and all of that in Lagos, is that obviously government can be a bit unreliable from a business point of view, where you work and you wait months for payment, but it doesn't take away the fact that there's still a gap. So we're still very strong in the sector. Some of the new things that we believe the government should be doing regarding infrastructure is to privatize some of the critical infrastructure, like what they tried to do with the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway by, at the time, even though it was done politically as opposed to through merit, should have been to privatize some of these critical infrastructure roads that are commercially viable with the volumes of traffic that go on the road, like Lagos-Ibadan Express, Kano, Abuja-Kano roads, and some of these strategic roads, the East-West roads. So those are roads that the volume of traffic is sufficient to create a business case for the federal government to privatize them. That should be the direction. There was a time they were going to pass the Federal Roads Authority law, but that was also stalled for political reasons. But we need to create a force to ensure, otherwise, we're never going to get projects done. And this is the reason why we have projects that go on for 10 years, 15 years. We have them. We have some that have been on our books for 10 years. And government will say they're not reviewing the rates. How do I build a road that was awarded to me in 2009, in 2012 at the same price? But what is the reason why that road is still there? Many people don't understand. You see abandoned road projects across the country. It is not necessarily because the contractor took off with the money. No. Many of it has to do with unrealistic and very difficult bureaucratic processes. So apart from the fact that funding is an issue, you would work now and not get paid for 18 months, and then the road that you did halfway has already been damaged. So by the time you get the money in 18 months' time, it is useless to you. You're already in the negative because the work that you did before you have to go, because you can't close the road. Because people will apply them. So this is the reason, and then you keep on going, and it's like never ending. I remember in 2010 when we started working with the Federal Ministry of Works, and we had a meeting in Lagos with the director. And then they listed projects, called all the contractors in the Southwest, and they listed projects. And that time they said, "Oh, there's this road in Ogun State," and they said the contractor had been there for 12 years. And I was laughing. I was like, how can somebody be on a project for 12 years? Little did I know that very soon it will happen to me. Because at the time, I was like, this thing should not be. I mean, this is not rocket science, but you see, when you are looking from outside, it is very easy to have the rules, to understand how the footballer doesn't know. Just put it there now, just put it on the left. But when it is time for you to put it on the left, you realize that it is not as easy to put it on the left. So this is the reality that we're in. We're in a very complex economic situation. We're hoping that private sector is the way to go. We have a lot of difficulty right now in getting foreign private sector money into the economy for obvious reasons. So we need to look inwards. And in looking inwards, we then need to develop our local capacity to create solutions. I was in Dubai, a couple of weeks ago, and I mean, it's amazing what is going on there. But we need to look inwards and create local solutions that will bring our economy out of the situation that we find ourselves. And we're the only ones that can do it. For me and for us, we're ready to take on that challenge to contribute to the economy in the construction sector, in the infrastructure space, because we don't have anywhere we're running to. I know that Canada has become very popular, but even in that case, you will still always be a Nigerian. And for us, we are here to just make it happen and make it work. We want to support your businesses. We want to be a part of your growth, and we'll do that with utmost integrity. Thank you very much for your time and for listening. If you have any questions, we have very vast knowledge about both the infrastructure and the construction space. We'll be happy to take some of those questions, both now and during the panel session. Thanks for listening. Have a very good 2021. Thank you. Are there any questions? Can I take questions? Maybe one, if any. If not, we would sit for the panel. All right, thank you.